Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this lovely bracelet. So I did a couple of samples of these new colors that I got from John Bead. They are Preciosa velvet color beads, and if you haven't seen it, there's an unboxing of all the beads and it is spectacular. You can see there's so many different colors to choose from and really fun, summery, exciting colors to choose. So the first one I did was soft coral, I believe it's called. Yeah, soft coral. And then I used some Preciosa. Let me set the camera focus. I use some Preciosa 8mm pearls in between these elements. And let me just enlarge this a bit so you can see that. So yeah, this is a super simple design. And so I'm going to show you how to make this. This was my first attempt with this color and it turned out beautiful. You can see how extraordinary these look. You can put a different clasp on this. I did one of these fold over clasps. So this part opens. Where's the other side? And comes through here and it clicks close like that. Super pretty. They sit really nicely on pearls. So I'll show you how to attach one of these as well at the end. We're just going to do a couple of elements and then I will show you how to put the clasp on. I wouldn't recommend doing the clasp first, like I'm going to show you. I would recommend doing all your components first. And then the other thing with this design is because if you move up in a size, you have to remember that this is what you're adding. Each time you add an element, you're adding the pearl along with the component. So just be aware of that. I did find it was a little difficult to go from, say, a size 7 to a 7.25 or 7.5. So just be aware of that. Make sure you measure it. And then, of course, my clasp is quite big too, so that takes up a lot of room. The one thing that this design is amazing is it's meant to be worn loosely. You can wear it tight. Some people do like theirs tight. Let me see if I can get this hooked on and show you. So I have a very small wrist. My wrist is under 6 inches. We call it Barbie doll wrists. Now this fits somebody with a 7.5-inch wrist. So I think there's 8 components. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 components. So probably a 7. Actually, I think I did one with a 7. This one here fits better. You can see look how close it comes at this point. So this one, I could probably get away with it. I don't like to have it that close because this is how small my wrists are. This one would fit better. I forgot I adjusted these, and you know what? If you go too far with your elements and it's too big, it's super easy to take it apart and just start from here and add the clasp. So, but there you go. So pretty. And this one is soft turquoise. Really lovely summery colors. And you can wear this for just every day or you can wear it for special occasions. It's kind of a nice design. And I wanted to show you a design that's kind of really elegant. And this one turned out spectacular. So I did the coral red. Sorry, not the coral red. It is the cherry. This is the coral red. So it is quite a bit different. So and I use some pearls, gold pearls, and look at how spectacular that is. So let's get into it because I'm dying to show you how simple this design is. You're going to need a strand of the white alabaster velvet color, soft. Now this one I'm going to do the magenta. So let's open them up. You don't need the whole strand. And we're going to do just a few elements. We're going to do 3. So if each element takes 4 of the 4mm beads. So there's 3 elements. So you can see I had a few left over from making these. Okay, you're going to need some 8mm bead or pearl to attach it with. You can change this to say a 6mm. I think it would still look really good with a 6mm. And that way you might have more give in how many elements you make for the size wrist that you're doing it for. You're going to need some bugles. These are bugles number 1. They are 3mm long. So let's put a few out. You're going to need some 50 seed beads, and I'm using gold. And you're going to need some 11 seed beads. You're going to need whatever clasp you're using. I'm using these ones that attach to pearls, but you can use a toggle clasp. Let's put out, I was trying to decide whether to use, use a white pearl. So this one here, I used a white pearl. And this one, I used a cream color. And it gave it a very different look, like an antique-y look or vintage look. This one's pretty, the white makes it a little more current looking, but they're both spectacular. So let's see. I think the white for the violet color. Magenta, soft magenta. Okay, so let's get a couple of pearls out for that. I think we'll only need 4. And those are 8mm. So 4mm, 8mm, 15-0s, 3mm bugles, 11-0s, whatever clasp you're using. I'm using a size 12 needle. I highly recommend you use a size 12. We're going to be passing through 15-0s multiple times, so you definitely need this. And good news, we have good thread, and it passes through 15-0s multiple times. It's wonderful. It's my new favorite thread. This, I thought I'm never going to go through this much thread. So here's the deal with this. It's 500 meters. And it's under $10 at Michael's in Canada. So in Canada and the US, I think in the US it's a few dollars cheaper just because of the exchange. So, and look at how much I'm using. This is a new one here. You can see the difference in the size. So I'm kind of shocked. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be. I have like close to 1,000 videos of making bracelets. And you don't see all the bracelets that I make. So I'm taking a wingspan. You're probably going to need 2 wingspans for this design. I say that, but you know what? I think I may have, I think the first one I made with 1 strand. Don't quote me on that. So I'm going to dye my thread. And that's what I like to do so that you can't see any white of the thread. So I've just got like a cheap Sharpie marker from the dollar store and a piece of cardboard. You're going to take your thread and pull it through while you're holding it down with the marker, and it works amazing. What I do is I go halfway down. I went the wrong way here. I do halfway down and then do the other side. The reason I do that is your thread's going to twist as it's coming through, and it's going to get all twisted, and then you got to untangle it. So this way it just goes through perfectly each time. If you're not happy, you want more color. It doesn't look like it's actually colored it, but it has. This thread is so fine. It's amazing. It's hard to believe that I've been using dragon thread and fireline and stuff like that for years, and since I found this thread, I don't need to use it anymore. So I can use it on all different kind of beads, multiple passes, different designs. And it's super easy to thread. Now this needle has been used a lot, so it's starting to compress the eye, which happens. But look, it's still that's a size 12 needle, and it's compressed, and this thread is going through like so easily. So let's come through, and we're going to start by grabbing 4 of these, and we're going to use the 11-0 seed beads. You're going to pick up 3 seed beads, 3 11-0s. Let's enlarge this here. 3 11-0s. Pick up a 4mm bead, 3 11-0s, a 4mm bead, 3 11-0s, 4mm bead, 3 11-0s. That looks really tiny. Like it's a 15. Some of the 15s might have gotten in. So 3 and your last and 4th. So this is what you should have. You're going to bring that down to the bottom, and you're going to create a loop and tie it in a knot. So grab it like that. You're going to get it into a loop and pull that tight like that. Make another. You don't have to make this too tight, because we're going to pass through and add the bugles and the 15-0s. So if there's a little give, that works to your benefit. So something like that. I'm going to make sure that's in there. And this is the other thing I love about this good thread, is it holds the knots well. So I'm going to clip this little piece off like that. That's what you have. Let me adjust the camera here. Okay. Now you're going to go through your 4mm and the next 2 11-0s. You're going to go through to the middle bead, basically, of the 11-0s. So like that. Okay. Bring your thread all the way through. And I'm just going to snug it a bit so that that little thread isn't showing. Now you're going to pick up a 15-0, a bugle, and a 15-0. So this is what you have. Okay. You're coming out of this middle bead. You're going to go to the next middle 11-0. So you're going to skip everything. Go to this middle one. like that. Pull that through and pull it in like that. Oh, we went through the last one. We don't want to go through the last one. There. Just the middle bead. So now we're going to pick up a 15-0, a bugle, a 15-0. We're coming out of this bead. We're going to go into this bead, the middle one of the 3 there, like that. Bring it through. And just scooch that in and maybe hold it with your thumb and then pull it tight. That. Pick up a 15-0, a bugle, a 15-0. We're going from this middle bead to the next middle bead, the 11-0s. So going super slow right now in case you're new to beading. Anybody could make this bracelet. I feel like it's pretty simple. So I'll go slow, and as we'll do a few components so you get the rhythm, and then I'll go a little faster. I feel like this bracelet design is so easy that I could probably do the whole bracelet, but just for sake of making it a quick video, I'm going to do the just 3 components. So pick up this is your last one that's going to go across. So you had a 15-0, a bugle, a 15-0. You're coming out of this bead. We're going to go through this bead, and now we are going to go through the final bead. So you can take your needle, go through both the middle 11-0 and the next one, and you can go through your bead, your 4mm bead. If you can't, just do it in 2 steps. Pull everything in, push that forward, hold it down, and a little bit of a tug like that. So there's your first component. That's how easy this is. So at this point, you could turn this into earrings. There's all kinds of lovely things you can do with it. So when I started doing it, I'm like, this is so amazing. Okay, so now we're going to attach our pearl and go to the next component. So you're going to go through this bead here. We're always going to attach our pearl. If you look at the pearl, we're always going to attach it in this diamond shape. So the point of a diamond shape. And these 2 end beads are always going to hold our pearl. So let's start by bringing our thread through the first one here. And the reason for doing it for both sides is it makes it even, the pearl. You don't want your pearl sticking off to the side. So you're going to pick up a pearl. These are 8mm. You're going to pick up an 11-0 bead. You can take those, bring them all the way down like that. Flip it that way, so stay on the same side. Now we're going to skip the 11-0. We're going to come back through the pearl. And you can see the threads on this side, this bead here. We're going to go through the other bead. And we're going to go all the way around all the outer beads. And that will secure this component as well as secure the pearl on both ends so it sits flush and even on both sides. And if it gets like that, no worries. Just pull the bead out and pull your thread like that. And at this point, you want to make sure this is nice and snug. Okay, so we're just going to make our way around. We're going to go through all 3 11-0s, the 4mm beads, and around to the pearl again. So we're already through the first one. So we're just going to make our way through the 15 or the 11 O's. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. It went on the wrong side of the pearl. There we go. There. It's so lovely. Every color of these Preciosa beads are just stunning. There we go. Okay. So go through that 4mm. Go through all the 11 O's. And you snug it a bit. Go through. So this is the one where we had the knot. So just be aware of that. Kind of try and move your needle to the side so you don't poke your knot. There, like that. And you might need some pliers to pull your needle through. It's possible that I went through the thread. So put that in. Go through the rest of the 11 O's. There. And through the 4mm velvet color beads. They're so lovely. And then go through the pearl. Now we're ready to go up to the next component. You might have to jiggle your needle around because that bead wants to sit exactly, which we like, but we need it to move aside for now. So now I'm just going to pop this up so that it sits flush. I'm going to go through that bead. Now, to do this same component here, we need the 3 11 O's that are going to sit here, but we already have one. So we're going to add one here, and then on the other side, we're going to add one here. But we're going to make the round that we did at the first part. So let's just try and follow here. So there's 1 11 O. Let's get our 4 beads out. Pick up a 4mm, 3 11 O's, a 4mm, 3 11 O's, a 4mm, 3 11 O's, 4mm, and like I said, we already have one there, one on the other side, so we only need one of the 11 O's. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is what you're going to put on every time you do your next round. So you have one bead there, one bead there, one bead there. We're going to bring that down. You're coming out of this side of this 11O. You're going to go to the other side of that 11O. And that will make your loop like we had at the first one. So I'm just going to flip that, just make it easier. So now we're going to go through the first. Let me get these threads out of the way here. Hang on to that. We're going to go through this 11O, through the 4mm bead, and we're going to get to the middle bead of these 11Os here. So that's the second one. Bring that through and pull it tight. That's what you should have. Doesn't look like much, but it's magic. So pick up a 15O, a bugle, a 15O, that. Okay, you're coming out of this middle bead, you're going to go to the next middle bead. It's already sticking out for us. Just hang on to your work so that these bugles are going to want to sit to the outside. So that's why I hold my finger on it. You can just move it over with your finger or your nail, your needle. Okay, so we're going to pick up 15-0, a bugle, a 15-0. That. Coming out of this middle one, we're going to go to the next middle one, like that. And I'll try and leave my fingers out of the way so you can see what's happening. So it's nicely sitting in the middle. It's not going to stay there. Trust me, I made a few of these. See, it wants to go to the outside. So just scooch it in, put your finger there, and then pull it. Like that. Okay, pick up a 15-0, a bugle, and a 15-0. You're coming out of this middle bead. You're going to go through this middle bead, like that. That, and scooch that in and pull this. Give it a little tug. 15-0. 15-0, bugle, 15-0. Coming out of this middle bead here, we're going to go to this middle bead. And we can actually go up through the next bead as well. Like that. My thread is getting caught on the tube of beads, and I'll have to show you a trick. Somebody mentioned this to me, and I was like, that's amazing. Your John Bead good thread. And it has a hole in the middle. You can put some beads in there. But this is the best part. You can put your scissors in there. And then your thread doesn't get caught on your scissors that are sitting on your desk. I was like, that's brilliant. Okay, so we're going to go through the 4mm and just the 11-0 because we're going to add the next component. You can see how fast this is to make. So go through those two. Pick up your next pearl. And an 11-0 seed bead. That. Bring it down. You're going to pass, like, just go through the pearl without going through the 11-0 that you just added. Go through here and go through this 11-0 here. And just pull it snug. So we'll need to adjust it again as we go because it's still loose. So now we're going to go around all the outer beads. And here's the thing. You can see the difference. When we went through, now the first one works really well because it's one closed loop with thread. But the point of going back through here is one, to attach your pearl. But two, it reinforces the outer edge, which creates this little square. And it gives it space for the diamond shape to occur. But you see how this one, the diamond shape is collapsing, and when you're wearing your bracelet, if you don't go through it again, it's going to do this. But because we reinforce this one, it's not moving. So that's another reason for going through it a second time. So go through the 4mm bead and the 11-0s, and you can kind of do it in one swoop or use multiple passes. And there you can see I'm going to hang on to my the 11-0 bead here, pull it tight, and then pull your thread, and any excess will there. Okay, so now go through everything. It also gives stability at this point here, the attachment point, when you go through everything. So let's bring that and tighten it. Go through the 4mm bead. It's a soft magenta. The 11-0 beads. And then we're going to go just through the 4mm magenta bead, the 1-11-0 bead, and then we're going to come up through here. We'll do one more of these, and then I'll show you how to attach. We actually have to show you this next one, we're going to have to put the clasp. So it's like all the steps are slightly different, because of course this one was different. It was the first one. Then we had the second one. So the rest of your components are going to be all the same process. So you can, restart the video at that point. So go through your pearl. Yeah, my thread needle came through the 11-0. So we'll just leave it there. And I'm just going to straighten out that 11-0 so that it's sitting with the holes on either side. Just like that. Okay, so now normally we would add our 4, like our outer component, the 4mm beads, and attach a pearl to secure it. But because we're adding the clasp, we don't want to have that bead there. So when we come to that, I'll show you. But let me just take that piece off. We'll attach it. Okay, so starting again, we already have a bead there, so we only need 2 beads, one on each side. The first one, because we're going to attach everything clockwise. Pick up 1-11-0, a 4mm bead, 3 11-0s, a 4mm bead, 3 11-0s. Move that down, a 4mm bead, 3 11-0s, a 4mm bead, and because we already have 2 of these 11-0s on for this one, we just need the one. We're coming out of this side. We're going to go into this side. Let me show you what I have, just as a reminder. This is what you're going to be putting on when you're attaching. Your first one's different. All the other components, this is what it'll look like. 1-11-0, a 4mm bead, 3 11-0s, 4mm, 3 11-0s, 4mm, 3 11-0s, 4mm, 1 11-0. Go to the opposite side, so the thread's coming out that side. We're going to go on that side and pull it all together like that. Now we are going to go through the first 11-0, the 4mm, and the 2 11-0s, because now we're going to add our. I was trying to think if it was different at this point. So this is still all the same. You have to excuse me. I just did this design the other day, so I'm still kind of. I worked through a bunch of You should. I took them apart because I was like, no, I need to figure out a better way for the attachment and stuff. Okay, so 15-0, bugle, 15-0. You're coming out of this middle bead. You're going to go into this middle bead. Like that. Pull your thread through. Doesn't look like much, don't worry. It's gonna come together like magic. 15-0, bugle, 15-0. Coming out of this middle bead, you're gonna go into this middle bead. Like that. There. Let's pull that one in a little more. There, like that. I do recommend you try and get those in snug. They're going to want to loosen, but it'll make your components really stable. So pick up an 11-0, a bugle, an 11-0. Coming out of that middle bead, you're going to go into this middle bead, which is the bead that's attached to the pearl. That. Get that guy over a bit. There, like that. Pick up a 15-0, an 11-0, a 15-0. You're coming out of this bead. We're going to go into the middle bead here, and you can actually pass that middle bead. We'll go through it and then go through the next 11-0. That. I am going to try and pull this a little tighter. It's getting loose on all ends here. Okay. Oh, these. Sometimes I put too much, fold over too much thread, and see, that's the thread that's hooked. Let's see if I can unhook it there. There we go. I do that when I'm doing videos so that I'm not pulling a whole bunch of thread through. So there, look at that. It's magic, I told you. You didn't believe me. Okay, so we went through our next bead, our next 11-0. So now this is the point we're going to add the clasp. So if we were continuing to make our bracelet, we would add the pearl with an 11-0. Let me just show you. There's some people that don't speak English, so if I show them. So you would add the pearl and the 11-0. And you would continue that way to do all your components. But because we are adding the clasp, we want to go through. And here's a little tip for using these clasps. Try and use one side of the bar when you go up and the other side down. And I'll tell you the reason why, because when we go to pass through this a second time, if your needle is, like if you go through and then come back on the same side, because you can't remember which side you went down, you won't be able to see it because it'll be sitting like this. So you have to kind of remember, okay, I'm going to go down on the front side all the time. So that's what I do, is I start at the back, and that's the front of the clasp there. So I start at the back next to the bar, then go through the hole, and it comes, you can get your needle all the way through. Oh, we didn't pass through, sorry. I jumped the gun here. I was explaining how you're going to continue your pieces. Your components. We need to position our thread coming out of this bead here. So go through your 4mm and your thread. There, and don't worry, because we're going to come back out of this and we're going to reinforce this. So we're coming out of the first 11-0. Now you're going to add your pearl. Okay, so hold your front to the front like that. So let's go through the back of the bar, up through the hole. Now for this part, we can see, because it's off of the pearl, you're going to go through the hole, but you want to see how the needle wants to go to the back again. That'll just come off. We need to go around on the other side. Like that. Okay, so it's just because I got a lot of thread. So then pull it down. You're going to go back through the pearl. That. You're going to go through the 11-0 on the other side. Go through your 4mm. And you're going to pull everything through. And it's going to snug it up. That. I would recommend... you're going to have to play with this and learn what works best for you. It's a bit difficult to get through the pearl and through the clasp a second time, but it's really important that you do. So you might want to leave it just a little slack and then make the second pass super tight. And that's so that you can get your needle in and around. So let's take a look. We've gone through our 4mm. We're going to go through all our beads again, just like we did to reinforce the last one. You can see they're kind of loose. So go through as many beads as you can in the loop. And pull tight. Go through all 3 11-0s. That reinforces the attachment as well as reinforces our square so it doesn't collapse when we wear it. Go through your 4mm. That. Then go through your 3 11-0s and through the 4mm. That. Then go through just the first 11-0 because we're going to go back up through the pearl and the clasp. That. Okay. Now, this is important. When I said about deciding what you're going to do, if you're going to start with the back and go to the front. So if you look, I haven't pushed my needle in all the way because I'm going to try and angle it towards the back of the clasp. And you'll see it'll just kind of jiggle it, goes through so that you can get the hole to come through. There, just felt it move. So there you can see the needle coming through. And of course it's going to want to sit. Just kind of nudge it and get your needle over to the side a bit. This one's quite finicky compared to the others. Let me bend my needle a bit, see if that helps. There, that did. So I just bent my needle so it would go around. So that should have, might be able to see, should have gone through. That looks like it went through the front. Let me see. Okay. Now, bring your needle back through the top. Try and bring it, see how it's coming. You know then that it's on the other side of the bar. But now you want to get and don't scratch your pearl. Find the hole to the pearl. You might want to do it in 2 steps, and I'll tell you why. Because once you get your needle on the other side of the bar is going to prevent you from finding the hole. So kind of open it up a bit and get your needle in there and push it through. It's a pain in the butt, I know, but you know what? They're so lovely. So let me just untwist that. And look, that's on there nice. So now we're going to go through and reinforce. So what side did we come out? I don't think it matters. I'm going to go to this side and pass through all the outer beads again. Go through the 11 O's like that. There. Go through the 4mm. One of the 11 O's. We're going to go across everything again. Pass through the rest of the 11 O's on that side. Go through the 4mm. Go through the 3 11 O's. So this way you're making sure this is your second pass on this outer edge, which I highly recommend you do each time. So now come through here. So our clasp is secure and even the pearl is nice and tight on there. So you can go through these. Important to go through these because they need to be reinforced so that they're sitting side by side. These 3 11 O's. It makes a huge difference in how tight the squares are. And pull through that. And twist. There we go. So there is what you're going to have. You could do 3 of these just for an earring or 2 with a drop. So then I would just find, maybe go through these 3 here. I'll show you. I'll secure the thread so we can cut this off. I'm going to leave mine on because what I'll do is I'll just weave my way back and add the other part of this bracelet, but for this video. So just find that thread bridge. The reason I picked the 4mm bead to add this somewhat of a knot, just twist your thread around your needle once, hold it down so it doesn't jump the bead, and bring everything through. Tighten that. So now that's everything secure. You can cut your thread, but I'm not going to cut mine. So, but you want to go through here is what I was getting at. Go through your 4mm. So I use a larger, one of the larger beads to create that somewhat of a knot, so that you don't have to worry about having to pass through that knot. So I would just go through this one here, cut your thread, and you're all set. And your element's nice and secure. So there you have this lovely bracelet. There. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know. It's always hard when it's a new design to make sure that I hit all the high points. So, and let me know what if you make it. I'm super stoked. So there's that one there. And then these lovely colors. Huge thank you to John Bead and to Preciosa and to Carmi for sending me these lovely beads. They're just stunning. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.